Ladies and gentlemen, Binnall of America!
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Tim Binnall.
No commercials, no subscriptions, no network, no rules. And at the end of the day, my friends, no comparison. Welcome back to another edition of BOA The Revival. And it's classic Binnall of America tonight. It is, we just did the math before we went on the air. It's the 17th edition of the Binnall of America Year in Review with Greg Bishop. We've been doing this for 17 years. We started in 2007. This is insane. As I just said to Greg, pre-Obama, from the George W. Bush years. That's how long we've been doing
W was president.
Yeah. Crazy time capsules. I was going to say someone should go back and listen to them all, but someone did, and we'll talk about that later. Yes, I just remembered. But anyway, so my guest tonight needs no introduction. He's been on the show, as you know, dozens of times, not just the year in review, but over the course of the program, in specials and regular interviews. So he's a longtime friend of the show. He's like a brother to me. He's a really good friend. We talk all the time on the phone. We just talked, actually, folks, like 3 days ago. It's Wednesday.
So we'll have nothing to talk about today.
Yeah. No, we actually kind of deftly avoided most of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're taping this on Wednesday the 27th. So you're getting this like a week after we chat here tonight. Hopefully, nothing newsworthy happens in the next 4 days. Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, it's the Year in Review show with Greg Bishop. So, Greg, welcome back. I think you're like the only person, even though when I go with these sporadic, when I through this period on, you're still on the show because we had to keep going and doing these Year in Review shows. So yeah. We might have the best sort of time capsule of how you've been in the last year of any guest that's been on the show. But how have you been in the last year since we talked to you?
I think okay. I actually had a good year, and everybody around me did not have a good year. So it's really strange. I really don't have a lot to complain about at all. I mean, I try never to have anything to complain about because who wants a sad sack around? But it's nothing to complain about this year. I feel like myself again now.
That's good.
I didn't for 4 years after Sigrid passed away. And now at this point, I feel like I can go forward and do stuff again. Because before it just felt like this, when you lose somebody, especially somebody close, like a wife, it feels like this weight on you.
Yeah.
It's like this huge weight. It's like almost like a physical weight that's just dragging around. And gradually in just furtherance of living more, you decide not to drag that weight around or figure out a way where it's not a weight anymore.
Yeah.
Or the time heals the wounds. So
yeah. Well, that's good.
That's where I'm at. So to answer your question in general, no, nothing bad to report. People around me, yes.
I didn't ask him anything.
Well, you asked what the year was like. So yeah, nothing bad to report. Just nice things.
There you go.
And cool things. And I met new people and went to these conferences, which we will talk about, and sort of not reinvented, but reacquainted myself with UFO stuff.
There you go. Nice. That's good, because I've kind of dipped out of the scene mostly. I just follow what's going on these days. I'd say cynical. Yeah. Well, I'd say 2023. It was kind of a mixed bag year for me. So I can't really. It wasn't like, I think I remember last year we were both kind of like, let's get the fuck out of this 2022. And I just don't have. I don't really dislike or like 2023. It was just like, it was just there. It was just kind of there, and it's I'm ready to see what the new year brings. I want to get this chaos of the Trump thing over with now. Hopefully, once and for all. Like this, as soon as Christmas kind of passed, even like last night or the other night, I was just like, all right, well, here we go. Let's see what's going to fucking happen, because, this is the last Christmas before all hell breaks loose. So let's see what fucking is going to happen. I've been stressed about this for a while, and it's just now the stress is going to so I'm not looking forward to a stressful 2024, but it is what it is. So we're all going to go through it together, and we'll hopefully all make it through it together, whatever is going to happen.
Yeah, we'll all go together.
This is my 2012. This is my fucking 2012. This is my Y2K.
Yeah, well, a lot of people feel like something really horrible is going to happen really soon, which people always feel like that, but I just feel it more now.
Yeah. Things just feel really like
something's going to change, and it's not going to be gradual. Yeah. Most change is not gradual.
Anyway, well, we'll put all that aside and in a second as far as what's coming down the pike, because we got to talk about what is behind us, and that is, of course, the year 2023 in the world of the high strangeness. And this year in review originally began as a UFO year in review, which back in 2007, for folks who aren't acquainted, that was. I've ultimately realized that it would be a very short show because nothing was really happening back then. And for real, if you go back to those shows, just one of the smallest stories we have this year would be the biggest story of the year back then. Back then, the biggest story, one year was the UK Ministry of Defense released some UFO files. That was the fucking biggest UFO story of the year. It was what the fuck? That wouldn't have even made it. That wouldn't even get on the list. It may have happened this year. That won't even get on the list.
I don't even follow this stuff closely enough to know if that happened. I get the big chunks. In fact, you follow it closer than I do because you have to.
And even some shit slips through the cracks on me, where it's it's just this thing's gotten to be a cottage industry in and of itself. So it's I gotta keep up with Bigfoot and everything else. I can't just If I had the money, I'd tell Coast to us, we need just a UFO beat writer who can cover just the UFO thing, because I can't keep up with that and everything else. This has turned into a full-time, just the UFOs, just an intense thing. So we'll start there. I have, as Greg may notice in the notes, I broke it down into, as we've pushed on the show kind of lately, I broke it down to UAPs and UFOs. So we'll talk first about the year in UAPs, which is the government aspect of all this, the unidentified aerial phenomena. So I'll give everyone a sort of a super quick breakdown of what I thought of the year, just in the main points, the 4 pillars of the year, and then we'll kind of just, I'll kick it to Greg on some of this stuff. So the year started out, the Chinese balloons. They shot down the Chinese balloons. Personally, I thought this was in February. But for those folks who were listening this way in the future, some mysterious balloons flew over the country. First one, Chinese balloon flew over. Then there was a big, what are you going to do about that balloon? So Biden shot it down after it was safe to shoot down. Of course, that wasn't good enough. You can't win anyway. Then all of a sudden it was like roaches. All of a sudden it was 2, 3, 4 more, 3 more. 3 more came across, and they were now just shoot them the fuck down, or whatever. How they came down is still a matter of where are they? It's, it's all been shrouded in not really secrecy, but just kind of I think people kind of didn't give a fuck after a while, because it was just only real diehards wanted to see the debris of the balloon and show us the debris. It's whatever. So they shot down the balloons. Personally, I was well, that's it. This is it for this renaissance of UFOs, because now they're going to be well, it's the Chinese balloons. We know what they are. End of story. And things seemed kind of quiet for a while. And then all of a sudden, Jesus, it's embarrassing. I call him just Grush. I don't fucking remember the guy's name now, the first name. David. My apologies. Well, that kills any chance he's ever going to appear on Binnall of America. But David Grush, David Grush popped up on the scene. He's the, if there was, for better or for worse, if there was a BOA year in review person of the year, we'd have to give it to David Grush. He was the most talked about guy of the year. Essentially, he comes out. He used to work in the government. He was mixed up in the DOD UAP department. He was told a bunch of things. He's coming forward saying that he's been told a bunch of stuff. Very Bob Lazarian, very kind of, who's the guy from way back in the day? The guy they wrote The Day After Roswell. Philip Corso.
Philip Corso, yeah.
Yeah, a little Phil Corso mixed in there. Kind of like, I was told a bunch of stuff. He didn't have anything. He doesn't have anything that we've seen that can prove any of the stuff he said. He said a lot of crazy, outlandish things, like about non-human entities. He's gone alien, folks. He's gone alien, which is always good because we want the aliens. That's the whole point of this exercise. So he goes alien. Tim Burchett and some of these other people in Congress, Representative Tim Burchett, they get all excited. They pick up UFOs as their thing. It's been going on for a while. It's been percolating. Now they're super UFO buffs. They hold a hearing. Greg maybe can help me with this, maybe not, I don't know. But the two other people, David Grush and two other pilots, Navy pilots, Ryan Graves is the other one. And
Dave Fravor.
Dave Fravor. There you go. Thank you. What a team. What a team, folks. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. Greg can attest. I have very minimal notes. So, Fravor, Grush, and Ryan Graves testify before Congress. This is the hearing we've been waiting for, folks. They had two prior hearings. Those were the DOD explaining how they can't figure out what these things are. They need more data. They're probably balloons and other shit. So, Fravor and Graves, they come up, they share their fantastic accounts of UFO sightings while in the Air Force. Grush just does the whole routine where he's like, he alludes to stuff, but says he can't say what it is. Says he can tell them, as we joked on the show, in the broom closet. That's really where it got left off. The top secret broom closet was where he's going to tell them the secret stuff. And as far as I can tell, I think nothing, it hasn't developed into anything substantial that has come to my attention. So, and I'm sure,
as far as I know, it hasn't either.
Yeah, I'm sure these politicians have been asked about the secret broom closet, but for some reason it hasn't. I'm not understanding why that hasn't developed into anything.
They
meanwhile,
call it a SCIF, Secure Compartmentalized Information Facility, which are actually specially built. They're boxes.
Oh, yeah, they're like super high tech, yeah.
I talked to a guy once, I had dinner with him, and he described to me designing those things and what they were used for.
Nice, yeah. They're intense.
Yeah, they're just basically a locked box with some stuff in it and a camera, and you go in, and there's no way for you to steal anything, take pictures of anything without being seen, and you can't leave the place without, because somebody's watching you the entire time, and the stuff stays in the thing, and there's no way to, unless you walk in through a series of locks and all this, to actually sit down and look at it. And they're portable. They're these portable,
super top secret. Yeah, so
there's probably ones built into the Capitol too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
because they have to do it all the time.
Yeah. I bet you they had to put one in Mar-a-Lago. No, for real, I bet you they did. Whether he fucking used it or not, it's up to, that's for the historians to figure out.
When he felt like it,
Yeah, exactly. So as this is all going on, so the DOD, they're still looking into the UFOs. They're still working on it. The DOD, the head DOD guy who all the people in ufology hate, Kirkpatrick, he stepped down in December. A new guy came on. So that's kind of in flux. Meanwhile, Congress was trying to get this legislation passed that would have broken open a whole bunch of UFO files. But then at the end of the day, it was undercut by some Republicans in Congress. And
the Schumer Amendment, yeah.
The Schumer Amendment, yes. And now that has passed, I think, a watered-down version, as they like to say on CNN.
Okay.
So,
yeah, also, I think Kirkpatrick was the NASA guy.
No, Kirkpatrick, I think, was the DOD guy. Sean Kirkpatrick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who the... Yeah, you're right.
I don't have any idea who the NASA would have. Oh, yeah. So, and also during this, NASA, who had commissioned a panel of 15 or so scientific experts, released their findings, and the findings were essentially the same as what the DOD has been saying. The government stance on this, for people who are trying to keep score at home, is that the 90% of something sounds very similar to Project Blue Book. 90% or whatever are identifiable. They're dots, they're fucking balloons, debris, birds, radar fuck-ups, all the prosaic explanations you can think of. There's a certain small percentage they can't figure out. Sometimes they do really weird shit. And the government's take is that they need better data and better ways of observing this stuff. And NASA said almost part and parcel for the same conclusion. So,
Yeah.
no aliens yet. That's the bottom line.
No, and I don't think there's going to be. You want me to
That's
launch into my
2023.
rant?
Yeah, well, that's 2023 in UFOs. Feel free to. I think I threw in plenty of editorializing on my end. So, yeah, we'll probably circle back. But yeah, there's my take. That's not really my take, but there's the year for anyone listening. That's what went down. So fire away, Greg.
Yeah. Well, before we got on here, I said, okay, Tim, you came up with this list. You've got the data. So I guess I'm going to be I'll be the color commentator.
Yeah, play by play. There you go. Yep.
Chinese balloons. Well, I saw that, thought it was exciting. Here's a new thing. Anything to do with espionage is really interesting to me. It's like, doesn't even have to do with UFOs. I'm just interested in it. And so I'm watching this and I'm thinking, like, why now? There's had to have been other balloons coming over.
Right.
And I find out later that they actually have changed some of the radars and at least that's the story, the radars and the software so they can detect stuff like that.
That's what they said. Yeah.
But why do they need to tell us?
Right.
Why do they say anything? They could have just like let the thing either shot it down over Nevada or something when it wasn't going to hit anybody or whatever. I mean, it got and grabbed it out of the air, whatever. So they didn't do that. They announced it. I think there's like many reasons for that. One of them is probably to let the Chinese know, hey, we're seeing these things. And that, what message received, you're floating stuff over here and looking at our stuff. And then you think about it deeper, it's like, well, if the Chinese know we're going to catch them, if we catch something from them, what's on there? What kind of apparatus do they have?
Yeah.
I bet it's something to make us think in a certain way, not something that is their highest tech. It's something that's probably going to mess with, the people that are analyzing it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because every time you talk about anything espionage or intelligence related, it's not what it is. Has nothing to do with it. What it looks like on the surface is like 99% of the time not what's going on. There's like 50 different levels of what's going on. So that's, and then it stopped after a while. They stopped talking about it.
Yeah, it was only that little 2-week flap. Yeah. So.
And it was going on before, we were told, and then Trump tried to jump in and say, well, yeah, we saw him and we shot him down or whatever he said. I can't remember. No way to prove any of this. And I'm sure it was going on before. It's just for some reason it was expeditious to announce it at that point.
Yeah, no, what happened was Trump said that had never happened before, and then the Pentagon came out and said, actually, it happened like 3 times. We just didn't do anything about it.
That's right.
So, yeah. Make of that what you will, folks.
Yeah. So I'll drop that now. I watched the Rush hearing. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched it cover to cover. I thought it was fun, as I said on Steve Berg's show. Yeah. I thought that was the UFO hearing we've been waiting for. There were aliens. There was talk of aliens, and that's what, there was talk of aliens.
I'm watching this the whole time, and all I thought was, this is a UFO convention in front of Congress.
Yeah.
Same stuff. I saw something that somebody told me about. No, well, I can't. I don't have any access to what it looks like or the actual thing. I just kind of, somebody told me, and 5 people told me the same thing, so it's got to be true. It's like, and you know what? The thing that I thought about when I heard that and saw that was, wow, that's worked in the past. We tried it out on UFO fans. Now it's being tried out on the nation and the world at large. Some people were watching some people were watching and saying, this is really nothing new. And like friends of mine. And I said, there are people that are not in the United States watching this very closely as well. Because if we can see it, anybody can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think there are probably a lot of things pushed through there that somebody who knew what they were listening for would pick up on and be able to react to in ways that the intelligence community wanted them to react.
Yeah.
Just like it's been done in the past. I kind of thought, if you know what I've written, that, everything looks like a nail to me as if it has to do with UFOs and intelligence,
Yeah.
So when I see any government entity saying anything about UFOs, I automatically assume it's not about UFOs, it's about something else.
Right.
And when people ask me, it's like, why is the government coming forward now? And I said, somebody in the government or some group or some operation wants us all to think about UFOs in a certain way right now.
Yeah.
And so they want everybody to pay attention to it, or at least everybody that will, and to, run that rumor mill some more and see, and use it for different purposes. This was done during Benowitz. It was done afterwards. It was done with what's the Serpo thing.
Yeah. This is certainly a big production. That's what's gotten people all worked.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why somebody wants us to, or some group wants us to think about UFOs a lot right now in a certain way, but somebody certainly does. And I don't know what the purpose is. There's all kinds of purposes. Who's paying attention? Who's talking about it? How are they talking about it? What things are they bringing up? Are there new people? Are there old people? What did they used to do back when? Just this, and it ramps up interest in a certain way and on certain things, and it de-emphasizes interest in other things. But mostly, it's this giant, delicious beacon that just draws attention in.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're a marketing person or an intelligence person, that's a really good thing. Who's paying attention? How are they paying attention? And what way are they paying attention? And how can you utilize that interest and that attention? So that's kind of how I see that Grush thing and this whole operation to begin with. The Schumer thing, I don't know. When people said, well, there's something behind here. There's, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's like, yes, there is fire.
Yeah.
But we don't know what that fire is. None of us know what that fire is. We can make all kinds of assumptions. That Schumer legislation, I think, mostly had to do with people in Congress being curious about UFOs and the military applications of knowing about what they were, not revealing UFO information to the public. I think they were personally interested in it, just like Lou Elizondo or any of these people. They're personally interested in the subject to begin with.
Yeah.
I think Grush was probably personally interested in the subject to begin with, and so that was utilized to get him to like, okay, if you want to talk about it, we'll give you some more. It was like a glorified Bill Moore who said he made not glorified, but a different version of it, where they said, we'll give you the straight information if you'll play ball with us here.
Yeah, well,
and maybe that's what's going on with Grush, or maybe he's going to get a better retirement, or maybe he's running on straight curiosity. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, you really can't. None of us really could know, and it's that's why I always step back and not try to assign a motivation. You know what I mean? You get online, sometimes people are like, he's in this for the money, or he's crazy. It's like, dude, you don't know. You just got to leave it.
No, you don't know.
He's got to operate off of what judge him by his actions, not by what you project onto his personality. We don't know anything about this fucking guy.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of reality is a Rorschach blot. UFOs doubly so.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was saying this on the show with Jack Brewer and Erica Lukes. I may even explore this more in the future, but he fits there's archetypes in this UFO world. You're sure you recognize this from the tarot, where it's like you're seeing him now reappear in this modern era. With you've got Grush is sort of the Paul Lazarian guy. Lou Elizondo is the Nick Pope character. Leslie Keene is Linda Moulton Howe. I rattled off 6 of them on the show a couple months ago, but there's an real interesting correlation here, and you could probably take it back to the 50s era and find the same archetypes throughout the entire history of this crazy mystery. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, but yeah. So
that's okay.
I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, that's why I love all this
about.
Under UAPs, because it's just this is the modern UFO phenomena, if you will. It's limped on with the government military scene shit.
It's a period, and it's a stage, and it's a fad, and somehow just am almost certain, like as certain as I can be, that at some point, whatever its purpose this is being trotted out in front of us for will either be finished, failed, successful or whatever, and bang, that'll turn off and it'll go back to status quo again. I'm almost certain of this.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah. The only difference might be that it sort of opens the door for. We can get it. Actually, this is going to be jump to that if you want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
You went to the soul. I don't really know anything about this. I put this under UFOs because I feel like this is still within the spirit of the UFO phenomena that we know and love, in a sense that this is. I'm sure some of these people at the event rub elbows with some of the UAP characters. Maybe even some of them are. But this is more, the soul stuff is, and what's going on sort of with the academic community, that's more in line with the classic ufology in the sense that it's citizen-based, it's individual, public-based research rather than sitting and going, well, what's the government say? Because the government's doing the investigation now. It's the civilian investigation-ism, if you will. That's
sort of,
how I take it.
But the point of the Sol stuff is to interface with some of these government people, which is so it makes it not purely citizen.
Right. It's aspirational, I guess. They're like, look, they should.
Yeah,
talk
very.
To us.
I mean, I heard Peter Skafish talking about it there and at this conference that Jay King put together in New York City a couple weeks ago. And he was saying, we've got to get government and the private sector and academia all together to study this. And I was thinking, no, you don't. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, it's better to have different names.
Yeah, he has this grand plan that if we can get all these resources together, that some sort of answers will come out of it, or something usable or whatever. And he might be right, but I also think that the nature of the UFO thing is just so ridiculously interpreted individually that any attempt to stick it in a jar and say this is what it is or here's what we're dealing with is automatically going to be met with something that disproves that immediately. And it might take a while for that to happen, but it's just, if you want something that just will never be put in a jar and never be corralled and never be to the point where you can study it the way you study anything else, that's UFOs. You can study ghosts and Bigfoot easier than you can study UFOs.
The UFO phenomenon does not like grand plans. So
no, it just
evade. It's like the more complex the net, the easier it is somehow to
I guess, or it
through.
conforms to that net and then leaves you with nothing. It's like, okay, that's what you think it is. So then 80 people come afterwards and say, but what about this and this and this and this?
Right.
And you're like, well, I guess my theory doesn't apply everywhere. No UFO theory applies everywhere. Except for Whitley Strieber's, which I keep bringing up. And he said this years ago. He said the UFO, whatever it is trying to reveal itself to people in the most democratic way possible, meaning everybody gets a chance, not everybody, but everybody that sees one gets a chance, and everybody has a different reaction individually. And that's no way to study anything.
Yeah.
So it's, I admire that these people are doing this, but I think it's not really doomed to failure, but I can see the narrative going the way it's gone so many times before, which a whole bunch of interest and everybody's really excited about it. And then nothing's found out and they just kind of give up and stop.
Yeah. Well,
granted, nobody of this caliber and
some will stick around.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, the only
it's changed lives already. A bunch of these academics that I know, they went from, this is BS to, oh, geez, there's actually something really going on here, which that's never happened before, at least in my experience, on this level.
Yeah.
And to the point where people talk about it and have, conferences about it. And they're not like UFO conferences where you're hearing about the Pleiadians and where they come from and how to call down the Space Brothers and all that, which I enjoy. But I don't think it gets us any further anywhere. At this point, at least people are talking about it differently. And that interests me. And that's why I go to these conferences, and I kind of stopped going to the regular UFO conferences, which have kind of died out. I think the only one left, the one big one left standing is Contact in the Desert.
Yeah, I mean there are local UFO conferences, but it's not like it's the whole scene's completely changed. The sort of carnival, the sort of traveling circus aspect of ufology is dying out big time, and there's still some people who, I mean, I'll always be nostalgic for it, but it's like
I like the silliness. It's baked in, as Josh says. Josh Scutchers.
Yeah, it's sort of at least as far as UFOs as its own travel. It's like roller derby or something. But it's absorbed into a larger aspect. Now paranormal in general, and you sort of throw in a couple UFO people, but it's like UFO alone conference. Yeah, they're not really. Obviously, the MUFON one's the other big one.
Right.
But who the fuck? I've never even been to a MUFON conference. It's like something
I haven't since
boring as hell.
At the 90s or something. Last one I went to was in 1990 something.
So I
went to like 3 or 4.
I mean, I'll confess to being woefully ignorant of most of the soul stuff, but to me it's just, and maybe I'll come back around to it as I kind of now see these people as, they're kind of the new ufologists for whether they like it or not. So once you start doing UFOs, because you don't have to be qualified to be called a ufologist, it also...
none of
anyone
them
else you become
ufologists. They're not saying this is a UFO conference.
The title can be foisted upon you.
Yeah. Well, you can foist it upon them, but I don't look at these people as ufologists. I look at them as people that already have interests in other areas and degrees in other areas. And there's well, what does sociology say? What does anthropology say? What do religious studies say? What does biology say? What does astronomy say? All these different disciplines are kind of looking at it from their point of view and saying, how can we look at this in ways that make sense to us in the way that we've been taught science, and 2, for some of these people, how do we change the paradigm of science a little bit to meet up with this stuff? And that's something I've been asking for like 10 years. I've been saying science at some point is going to change so that it can, deal with this stuff. And it'll still be science, but it'll be a different kind where different standards of evidence or whatever are accepted as valid sources for information. And I think that's great. And it's not ruining science. It's just evolving it a little bit, which it needs.
Yes.
Any system needs to evolve to meet new challenges or new data or whatever. And science has steadfastly resisted any kind of change to look at this. And now it's not so much. And to me, that's interesting and exciting.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't being, what's the word? Facetious, I guess.
Disparaging?
Yes. I mean this almost in a, I don't know what kind of way, but it's like, these are the new ufologists. These are the new people talking about UFOs in a way, I'm not seeing, well, quite frankly, a lot of the fucking old ufologists are dead or they don't do anything anymore. So it's like, I'm not seeing a lot out of Stan Friedman these days. So they're the new ufologists. God bless his soul. Uncle Stan, the man. As he went, so went old school ufology. So it's like, this is new school ufology.
I think so. I like new school ufology, and I think it's going to change, and it's going to be something else later. I'm just excited. It's the only time I've seen things change appreciably in 30-something years. I hate to say that long, but
it's been quite a change. It's exciting. Well, that's something worth keeping an eye on. As I said, I'm sort of woefully uninformed on this, but I should probably take a closer look, especially as the new year rolls out. We need guests for the fucking show, right? So,
there's plenty of them. So yeah, just read up on it. They've got interesting things to say. Did you have Mike Masters on yet?
No. I haven't. No. I haven't. I've lost a lot of interest in UFOs lately because of the UAP, how they've been overcome by the UAP thing. So maybe there are some interesting ideas.
What? 3 or 4 years ago, I had Stephen Finley on, and he'd never been on a podcast about UFOs. And we talked about the Nation of Islam as a UFO religion, and people are like, "What?" And I had just found out about it, so it was vitally. It's like nobody ever hears about that stuff. Nobody talks about that stuff because ufology is basically white people. So it was really interesting to hear this from Dr. Finley. So And then he became kind of a fixture, and I'm glad because he gets to talk about, what do other groups besides middle class white people think about the UFO subject and where they come from and why they're important and all that.
Yes, well, it's mostly middle class white people, that's for sure. In America and England, I find there's a huge contingent of UFO buffs in England. It's like, Jesus, they're more fired up than we are oftentimes, and it's like, hassle your own government.
They're all mystical and shit.
So yeah, but so this is kind of, again, within the realm of UFOs in a sense. So there's a mystery still. So there were two classic UFO style cases here not involving the government. There was this Vegas alien, which now, as you know, folks, I keep my finger on the pulse of the paranormal news. So when something jumps from like local newspaper to fucking every paper in the country, that's when I'm like, all right, this is a big story. Vegas alien was definitely a big story. This family, it was right around 4th of July. I don't think it was on 4th of July, but I'm not positive. But either way, it doesn't matter. I think it was something, people saw something, looked like a meteor, I think, flash down the night sky. Then this family calls the fucking Vegas police, and there's like, and they say, something crashed in our yard. There's these 2 7 or 8 foot tall beings walking around and shit. And so then the cops come out, and they don't find anything, of course. And that's really the whole story. But because they had like the 911 call and shit, it got really, and the police body camera footage and shit of the cops like talking to the guy. And he was like, oh, it was these beings and shit. It got a lot of play. I think it turned out the kid was kind of like a TikToker, wannabe social media influencers. So, I mean, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together as to the veracity of what occurred. They still kind of tried to milk it for like a week or 2 afterwards, maybe even a month or so. But that was the whole thing. But it was legitimately like on my local news here in Boston. Like, did an alien crash in Las Vegas? A family says. So it was like one of those huge classic, like, it was so classic in the sense UFOs too. Cause like, I think it was like right around when the NASA panel happened or the DOD hearing happened. And it was like,
UFOs were at an all-time high.
Yeah, kind of like we were saying before. It's like, you can't wrangle this thing because they're like, look, we're really trying to take this seriously now. We're really serious about this. And then it's like, did a fucking alien land in a backyard in Vegas? It's like, keep trying to take it seriously, guys. Keep trying. We got aliens landing in the backyard of some TikToker's backyard. So, I mean, do you have anything to say about the fucking Vegas alien? It was a fun story. I liked it a lot, but it was just silly.
I looked at it and I said, well, that's a load of crap.
It's...
And then a friend of mine from MUFON said, can you put me in touch with anybody that might have talked to them? And I said, I could try. I talked to a news person, a media person in Vegas, and I said, did you talk to these people? And they said, first they said, come down here. Then we came down there and they said, oh, well, we don't want to talk to you. And then the police told us that they weren't totally BSing because there was, I guess, some kind of footage of something that they couldn't explain. I might be speaking out of turn here.
Yeah.
But the thing was, the upshot of this is there was more to the story than just a fake TikToker. There was something going on there that wasn't explainable as somebody wanting somebody wanting attention.
Yeah.
And I just thought, totally par for the course with UFO stuff.
Interesting.
It actually could be nothing or next to nothing, but there's always, somehow there's not always, but somehow
could be aliens.
Tiny little doubt that something strange went on, alien or paranormal or just out of the ordinary, or somebody playing a prank on them or what. But it was not as cut and dried as the family got. The family was just playing along with this guy that just wanted to be famous. It wasn't that
interesting. All right.
And so and the rest of the family continued to support what he said and said they'd seen something, or at least seen some vague thing moving. And they didn't go back on their story. So it's like, I don't know. You think I think everybody's parents are these respectable people that will, that won't,
Oh God, are you kidding me?
Or whatever.
No, I think
they could all be crazy. But the thing is, they were so half-assed about it. The parents and the brother or whatever, they're like, yeah, well, I think we saw something. And it's like, well, either support him wholeheartedly or just, or don't say anything. But they did support him, so I don't know. It's not as simple and cut and dried as people think. And that's that's
we're probably never going to hear anything else about it. So.
No, we're not going to hear anything else about it at all because it's just going to be left, just like most UFO cases. Oh, at the Sol conference, Vallée got up to speak, Jacques Vallée, and he's the only person that got a standing ovation, and he got it when he was introduced. Not after his talk. Only a couple people stood up, not because they didn't like what he said. I don't know. But the one thing he said was,
sounds like it went over like a wet fart, man. I don't know.
No, everybody clapped and they were enthusiastic.
All right.
A few people, I think they figured we already stood up. We don't have to stand up again.
Jesus.
But what he said, which is what might have, confused people, is that most UFO cases aren't reported. In fact, the weirder it gets, the less reported it is.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And he said, I think that's the key. We really have to talk to these people who've had really weird shit happen to them and encourage them to talk about it, because he had this little chart like, as stories get weirder, the reporting level goes down.
Yeah, sure.
And as
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the weirder it gets, the more information you might be able to get out of that. And so just because you heard, and I always use this example, like a witness said, I saw a UFO, and then the next day my dead grandmother called me.
Oh.
Yeah, or my dead grandmother called me, or doors started slamming in my house, a poltergeist activity. Nobody asks about that stuff.
Yeah,
MUFON's starting to, but nobody really cares about that. They're always like, how big was it? How big was the light? What color was it? What direction did it go?
If you held a dime up in the air, how big was it?
Yeah, that's that's the stupidest information you get from somebody for these things. The best information is what happened before, what happened after, and how did it make you feel? And what are you not telling me because you think I won't believe you?
That's a great question. Yeah, exactly. That's a fantastic question.
Those are the questions that should be asked. Anyway, he was pushing for that. It's like, let's really start weeding out, or at least
because usually it used to be they would cast aside the strangest ones. Now it's like we got a million. We got a million fucking normal ones. So
let's look for the extreme strangeness, because that Carla Turner said the same thing to me in the 90s. The anomalous details is where the answer might lie.
Speaking of anomalous details, so as many people know, my mantra over the last few years has been show me the fucking aliens. And this year I got my wish when
sort of
the esteemed Jaime Maussan spoke to the Mexican Congress, where they do things right. They do it right down there in Mexico. And he came out with some little alien dead bodies, folks. He had a couple of little dead bodies, little mummified remain-looking body things that he says are aliens. Later, he kind of clarified, because he claims that it seems like the only people doing studies on these dead aliens are Jaime Maussan's scientific cronies. So it's like he hasn't like just send it up to Harvard, dude, or send it to fucking Stanford or whatever place can actually look at these mummified bodies.
Well,
so far,
Gary Nolan looked at the Atacama ones, and he just those alien mummies. It's like these are human. They're just put together pieces of humans, and that upsets people. Send them to him, and he'll. Though people have differing opinions of his motivations, he is a scientist, and he does for.
He's not going to come out and say they're aliens if they're not aliens. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of he's not saying.
If he's either going to say yes, no, or can't determine. That's it. That's science.
Yeah. So they're fantastic. They're adorable. I want a plushie. They're they made worldwide news. No one takes them seriously. No one believes that they're really aliens. He says that studies have found that 30% of them are unknown DNA. That's supposed to be the latest, I guess. And
studies has these giant 100-foot high quotes around it.
Yeah. Studies by his scientific cronies. It's like I mean, I haven't seen any actual scientific information, just his claim. But I think he's been in front of the Mexican Congress like 3 times, so I don't know what the fuck that's all about. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, they probably think it's hilarious. Actually, I think they do, because they said at the
it's like having an office party.
This like famous Mexican rapper came up and fucking talked about his UFO sighting and then did a rap. So it's like, as I said, they're doing it right down there in the Mexican Congress. So but I guess that just should go to show you folks, as I said earlier, like, this is how insane the UFO subject has become here in 2023 and as we enter 2024. Like, this guy's rolling out fucking aliens before the Mexican Congress. And not that people take them seriously, but they're seriously taken enough to get, like, worldwide attention and people talking about it. Whereas before, like the Roswell slide, that was just kind of like a thing. It died out very quickly, obviously, but it didn't really get it didn't become like a worldwide story in the way that this has. So it's like the little aliens, that's it. I mean,
yeah, I would argue if the U.S. government had made this push starting in 2017, that Maussan story still wouldn't have gone worldwide like it did.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no. I mean, this is all a product of the zeitgeist, the UFO zeitgeist that's out there right now. It's I'm sure Jaime Maussan, who I think I crossed paths with him once, but I never actually talked to him. But he's
met him.
All about the UFOs and everything. I wouldn't deign to compare him to anyone in American the UFO scene, but he's a character, and
he's his own show.
Yeah, he's a one of a kind. Really, he really is. There's really no one in America quite like Jaime Maussan. So he busted out these aliens. So they're I don't know what, I think they're probably like Fiji mermaid type things, but we'll
I think that's what somebody had found out eventually, or at least that was one of the stories I read or heard. The skeptical stories are just as inconclusive as a lot of the times, because there's like 15 different skeptical opinions on it.
Yeah,
so you don't know.
I don't even know anyone who's someone needs to handle these things like that isn't part of the Jaime Maussan crew. That at least someone needs to, like, the Mexican government should take possession of these, right? Like, can you imagine if someone rolled in at the Grush hearing and was like, here's 2 fucking alien bodies, I've got them. Like, you wouldn't leave with the alien bodies, bro. Like, they'd be like, all right, we're taking those with us. Thanks for bringing the dead aliens, Jaime. Please, we're going to escort you out of Congress now, but we're going to keep the dead aliens. So, good for him.
No dead aliens ever going to be rolled out anywhere, I predict.
I hope not.
1, because there might not be any. And 2, if there were, nobody in their right mind would put those out in public. It's just the value of keeping them under wraps is a lot better than the value of telling everybody about them.
And 3, what would the aliens think? They'd fucking hate us, dude. They'd be very insulted. I would be. I'm watching some TV show, or I find out some other planets, like, we got a couple of dead humans. Look at these things. And they're holding them up. They're like, fuck you, man. Oh, my God,
that's Steve. Damn it.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, I almost, maybe at some point down the line, Red Pill Junkie will chime in and share his thoughts on this, but the Jaime Maussan thing with the aliens moves us into weird and unusual paranormal stories. I tried to put a hard thing on about 45 minutes on the UFO talk, and that's pretty much what we did, so that's great. Because we're moving now into general paranormalia and whatnots. And we'll probably circle back to UFOs when we close out the look to next year.
Which I might have less to say, but we'll see.
Yeah, but we'll see.
I looked at your list. I mean, I knew about almost all of them except these next 2 you're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, the Mexican president, he shared a photo of what he thought was an elf, a magical elf. And then later in the year, a Mexican mayor revealed what he claimed might be goblin remains that were found in the town. I lumped them in here with the Jaime Maussan thing because it's like official, like the Mexican president. I don't know what it was. It turned out it was like a fake or a debunked viral photo from like 4 years ago. So it's just kind of like, he kind of look like a goof, but it's like, again, going with this idea of the zeitgeist and shit, it's like...
Is that the one that the guard took the picture of the thing coming out of the basement or whatever it was?
No, it was like something in a tree. It was like some kind of figure in a tree. And like even like a reverse Google image search found with it, like in seconds, that it had been floating around online for like years.
Yeah.
So he just kind of looked like a goof. But the fact that the president of Mexico is like sharing this shit online, that's the takeaway here. It's like, we've come this far. This has gone nuts.
Yeah.
And then the Mexican mayor revealing goblin remains. So I don't know what's going on down in Mexico with official pronouncements of paranormal
and goblins.
Shit. Yeah, but I love it. And I hope to see
Too
more.
bad they're not chupacabra remains. We haven't seen those in a while.
I know. That would have blown my socks off. So in the world of Bigfoot in 2023, a fair amount of sightings, I'd say, but the biggest story that got the most headlines was this train video that the couple didn't film. It's all very confusing, but try to stick with the facts. The couple didn't film the video. Some other guy on the train with them filmed it, and then they, entrusted them to release it. So, but it's always like, they filmed the thing, and it's like, oh, they didn't film it. Some other guy did. But anyway, this group of witnesses filmed what looked like a bipedal figure walking along, hairy bipedal figure walking along this mountain range of Colorado. And then he like squats down like he's going to take a shit, quite frankly. But it squats or have a smoke or something, but just squats down. And it was remarkably clear. So it got a lot of and it was clearly like something on 2 feet. And it certainly looked like a Bigfoot. So it got tons of press, but I think at the end of the day, while I don't think it was certainly not conclude, no one stepped forward to unmask themselves as the Bigfoot. It turned out like there was a car dealership nearby, and it looked pretty much like their mascot. So the belief is that it was either a prank or an inadvertent, Bigfoot sighting or something like that. But
I thought somebody admitted that they had faked it.
They may have. The car dealership may have wink, wink, brought the guy out and said something like, "We don't know where it could have been from," but I don't know if it was ever conclusively debunked. But I'd have to take a closer look.
I thought it was conclusively debunked, but I first time I saw it, I said, "That looks interesting." Then you look at it for a while, and you're like, "That just looks like somebody that really wants to be on camera."
Yeah, I found it hard to believe that a Bigfoot
Every
would be
other Bigfoot
hanging
film
around.
is like them walking away from you.
Yeah. I found it hard to believe that a Bigfoot would be walking around anywhere near where a train would be.
In broad daylight in Colorado, near a tourist train that goes from Durango to, I can't remember where it was, but it's like this little tourist train. It just has one little,
Yeah. So hard to believe. It got the most press. It almost certainly is debunked. I mean, somebody may have come forward, but I think I never even bothered to follow up on it because it was it's obviously not Bigfoot.
Yeah, I think I did because I was having a discussion with somebody about it. It's like, oh, I wonder what really happened. It's like, nope, guy admitted it. So, see, there's one of the skeptical explanations, and I chose to just live with that one because I just thought it looked bad anyway. Uri Geller just put up a picture the other day on Facebook. It's like, can my friends help me figure out what this is? This is amazing. And it was a street lamp with the part holding it up photoshopped out really badly too. You can see the outline of where it was.
Yeah, he's been releasing a lot of bad shit over the year. I don't know what his deal is.
It's just, I don't know what he said. This is from a friend of mine that's in the military. It's like, well, then maybe he's trying to make you put that up for some reason. Maybe there's something else in the picture that somebody needs to see.
Yeah, or the streetlights code for something. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know what. Yeah, he's kind of. I never really took him seriously anyway. He seems like someone who's trying to stay relevant in the world of UFOs still, and I think he's
true. I mean, I think he's
a big celebrity, in England. So he's more of a celebrity.
Well, he lived there for quite a while.
Yeah, so he gets a lot of. All he has to do is ring up one of these fucking tabloids, and they'll run anything. So it's kind of.
I'm cynical about a bit about Uri Geller, but I also he fascinates me as a character. I think he's a nice, positive person, and also I think that some of the stuff he did was unexplainable, and mixed in with a whole bunch of magic tricks and BS. Although most skeptical people I know, it's like, well, if he fooled you once, he's fooled you every time. It's like, it's not that simple.
Yeah, that may not necessarily be the case, but yeah, who knows with him? I think he lost his mind, though, at some point. I hate to say it. Or he's kind of lost the plot, and I say that with kindness and empathy. But if you're posting out pictures of, if you can't discern a street light, then you've kind of lost the plot a little bit. Sorry.
Exactly. I agree with you. I feel sorry for him. I mean, he's still cute and fun, and I'd really love to meet him. But he's also, kind of gone off the reservation a bit.
Yeah. This year was a big year for the Loch Ness Monster in a way. After we had the talk last year about how they were fighting about the webcam footage, they still don't care. They still don't recognize webcam footage anymore. The field's pretty much settled on that. But it was like the 90th anniversary, I believe, of the first. Not the surgeon photo, but like the first sighting which made Nessie into Nessie. So it was like a celebratory year, 90 years. They reopened this. I'd love to go and check it out. This visitor center at Loch Ness. It's like they put like 2 million pounds or something crazy into it. It's like a giant immersive experience, like a real fucking show at Loch Ness.
In 1932, there was a... Yeah.
Yes.
A whole boat full of tourists saw Nessie piddling along through the loch.
And if you like Nessie, the opening of the place is fantastic news, not just because it's cool and shit, but because and let's be super cynical here, folks, the tourist attraction has a vested interest in people caring, loving, and wanting to find the Loch Ness Monster. You're going to hear more about the Loch. Like, it's the best PR ever you could ask for Loch Ness Monster. Like, it now has a team of people ensuring that everyone still loves the Loch Ness Monster and believes
Nessie has a PR firm.
Exactly. So
Nessie has a posse. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Nessie has a posse now. So shortly after they opened, then they did. It was like the largest search for Nessie in like 30 years, and they had a whole weekend, and people all came out, and it was a shitty day. It was like rainy all weekend, so like not as many people came out, but it was still a ton of people, and it was a really interesting first try. I hope they do it again this year. They had like boats out there with sonar shit. I mean, I don't think they're gonna find a fucking dinosaur or whatever, but it was. It was a cool proof of concept kind of thing. And they had and people lined the sides of Loch Ness at various points to look for Nessie and shit. And as I said, I mean, the greatest PR in the world. This is the kind of shit you want. Like Bigfoot sitting there in America going like, what the fuck, man? I don't know. But Bigfoot's more of a folk here. You can't go one place and find Bigfoot. This is they're like Roswelling it up big time. And it's, if they hadn't already,
the Nessie's only in one spot. There's not Nessies. Well, there are lake monsters in every country, but there's not Nessie. There's not lake monsters all over England, as far as I know.
No. But Nessie's the preeminent monster. He's the main lake monster. So yeah, that was a big thing. The largest search ever for Nessie in 30 years or something like that. And I think they're going to do it again because, as I said, it's in their interest to keep this thing going. So I would imagine this might become an annual thing, and good. It's cool. It's awesome. I love it.
I want to go.
I want to go too. Yeah. If it becomes an annual thing, I will definitely attend one of these years because it sounds cool as hell.
I've never been to Loch Ness. I would love to
turn into a huge party. Yeah. Paramania some year. We should go and just join the giant Loch Ness surge. Yep. We're kind of flying through these, but there's other stuff to get to as well. Well, also over in England or Britain or the UK, one of those. I always get that all mixed up. A miscreant cut down this iconic British tree. I only really mentioned this. It was called the Sagmore Gap, I think. And it was like featured in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It's like it's iconic. It's along Hadrian's Wall. and the thing dips down, and the tree is like coming out of the thing, and it was like it's iconic. It's on all the fucking this whole area where it is. It's everywhere, right? It's like Man in the Mountain for people from New Hampshire. Yeah, so that's probably the closest.
Which fell apart a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Or like a tree version of the Grand Canyon or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or so anyway, some asshole,
famous natural feature.
Yeah, exactly. Some fucking dick or multiple dicks or miscreants, undoubtedly, cut down this fucking tree, and it was like centuries old. It's a huge tree. If you Google it, you'll see how huge it was. So the only reason I really mention this is it's just like it connects in a way to they blew up the fucking Georgia Guidestones last year. Just shit disappears. You know, I kind of just tip my cap in a way. It's like, well, there's another thing in our lives that like people in future generations won't really know about. So, and it's not like natural. It's like people are fucking assholes. Like, and just like stop blowing up or destroying iconic shit that people like. I'm afraid of what's going to happen, of what they'll get to next. You know?
Yeah. I did not hear about this, so all I can say is what a dick.
Yeah.
Or dicks, as you say.
Well, one story.
They need that. How can I get attention? Well, I can do some horrible thing. Well, great. You'll be on. What's that? I can't remember what comedian. Oh, it was Louis C.K. It's like, you know, somebody's like arguing with him at the food service court or whatever. And he goes, well, you can decide whether we're going to be on the news tomorrow or not, but I really need this. I really need whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I'm going to get on the news. Yeah, you'll be on the news for 5 minutes, you moron. And everybody's going to hate your guts. Nobody thinks about that. Or maybe they like it. I don't know. The devil has taken everyone.
Yeah, well, in the article I wrote about it for the Coast site, that at the time they arrested a teenager, but I don't know if he ended up being connected for it or not. But it's like because he was a minor, they didn't release his name, and it's like I mentioned in the article, it's like, look, when you do something this bad, the government can protect your identity, but it's not going to last long. Like people are going to find out who you are, dude. You're whatever happens to you, you're forever going to be branded a fucking like villain for for the rest of your life in that area. Like you need to leave the fucking country, bro. Like otherwise you're the most hated person. There's no coming back from that. You cut down the fucking tree, the iconic fucking tree that everyone used.
Got to move to the United States like Hitler's nephew did during World War II.
There you go. Now, one of the big stories, I don't want to call it my favorite story of the year, but I think it kind of was in a way because it was so bizarre. And that's the submersible tragedy. You know, you followed the submersible tragedy, right? You know.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that was one of the biggest stories of the year for a while. It was exciting. It happened like in early July for people who were listening to this later. Essentially, this I don't know how I describe it. Maverick, inventor, engineer, guy, impresario, invented a submersible, which is like it's like a little bubble that you fucking drop into the ocean and then pull back up. Essentially, it has little motors. It's not like a submarine. He invented one made out of not fiberglass, but something similar to the modern equipment.
Carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber, yeah. Insisting that this was the way to go. It was the proper way to do it. It was going to change the whole world of submersibles. And he was charging people a shitload of money to get out of the Titanic. He had done it like 2 or 3 times. The entire submersible community was like, this is insane. This is like if you had tried to make it out of fiberglass, dude. This is not gonna work.
Yeah, just because it worked 3 times doesn't mean it's going to keep working. In fact, it's less likely that it'll work.
Right.
After the stress is induced by the
Yeah. So on this fateful day, Father's Day, actually, they went down into the ocean to go look at the Titanic. They never came back up, and it turned into like an MH370 situation where the whole world was, a lot of people like me who get captivated, just all right, I know, but it's I'm hearing the people who were, I didn't give a fuck, it's like it was the story. Yeah, you missed out. It was really exciting. It was like MH370, and they're like, all these countries came to look for the fucking little bubble. There was these horror scenarios. It's like they could be stuck in the little bubble right now, running out of oxygen.
There was like, we're hearing like knocking on a hull, or
there
were like these ghostly sounds coming from somewhere, and people thought they might still be alive, and then finally they found. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, then it got so bad, like it just, again, this is the glimpse into 2023. This is who we are as a society, folks, in this year of our Lord, 2023. The speculation was that they would have 72 hours or whatever until they ran out of oxygen. So as you got closer and closer to what was thought to be when they would run out of oxygen, the fucking news stations, a couple of them, ran little tickers down in the corner of the screen that was counting down to when the people in the bubble would theoretically run out of oxygen and fucking die. It was like, what the fuck? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. So then, after about 5 days, they sent down a little, like one of those National Geographic remote things to look at the Titanic they used. So they sent that down. They're like, it blew up. It imploded. So they found the debris. The people almost certainly died, in milliseconds.
They got vaporized.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any remains.
Right. It actually made me feel good in a way, because it was like they probably, from what I've heard now, it sounded like they started going back up. They were like, okay, shit's wrong. And apparently when this shit starts to fail, it starts to pop and crackle. So they were like, they started hearing pops and crackles, and they're like, all right, we got to get back up. Something's going on. And then it was like, boop, and then we're dead. So if they had any concern, it maybe lasted for a minute, with I don't know, this sounds like it might not be as, this might be taking a turn for the wood, and poop, you're dead. So it was like, they didn't,
it was instant.
Yeah. So I feel bad. Well, I feel bad for everybody. I don't necessarily feel so bad for the guy
father and son on there, and the son didn't want to go.
Yeah, the son didn't want to go. That's how I remembered that it was Father's Day, because the son didn't want to go, but because he'd be scared, because this thing was a fucking tube, folks. You have to see this thing. If you're listening to this 4 or 5 years down the line, you might be like, what the fuck are these guys? It was like a tube, and it was run with a PlayStation controller, and everyone afterwards was like, how the fuck did anyone even let this thing go into the water? So, and the son was like, I don't want to go. This thing looks like a death trap, but you're my dad, and it's Father's Day, and you love the Titanic, so I'm going to go with you on this insanely dangerous trip. And they died. And that's one of the big tragedies. That's the big tragedy of it. The guy who fucking spearheaded all this is the villain. Everybody tried to tell him not to do it. He was so obstinate that he fucking kept going, and he took 4 people's lives with him. So that's it. Quite a
which isn't really paranormal or Fortean, but it was a huge thing in the news.
Yeah, it was. I don't know how I'd classify it, but it was sort of it was a very short-lived mystery.
Yes,
that was a very and an eerie synchronicity, sort of a cautionary synchronicity in a sense, where wasn't that the whole thing behind the Titanic, that it was this obstinate, we're going to push on no matter what, and fucking then that ultimately killed all the people. So it was the same sort of bullish attitude.
I think it was
eeriness.
It was we can't sink, so we're probably okay.
Right.
But then the ship started listing. They're like, oh Jesus, and then they realized, no, we are sinking. Because I think the plan, as far as I remember, the plan of the Titanic was nothing can rip through this many watertight compartments at once, and it did.
yeah, exactly. That was sort of that's how it kind of connects to the submersible. Yeah, I mean that's and it just goes to show you that people are still
hubris.
Hubris is the word. Yeah, people are still weirdly obsessed with this Titanic. They need to, I don't want to say move on, but I think that it's going to change the way. I don't think you'll see a lot of this shit. I think people are just going to leave it alone now. Maybe. I hope.
Yeah.
That might be the end of the Titanic obsession. We have all the shit we need. They did a great 3D digital composition of it that came out this year also. So what more do you fucking need? Jesus.
I don't know. I read are you getting brownouts there at your place? I see the lights flickering.
No, sometimes my refrigerator just kind of kicked over, and sometimes when it does that, it sort of like jogs the thing. But nah, we're good.
I read A Night to Remember when I was like a kid, when I was like 7 or 8 or something, by Walter Lord, and that's I think that's what a lot of the later movies etc. were based on, was that initial book.
Yeah.
And it got some stuff wrong, but so do all historical books.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I don't know why it was my favorite story. I guess just because it was sort of like the MH370 thing. It was very, a short-lived mystery. I mean, look, personally, I wish they never found anything. It would have been like, this is a great American, a new great American mystery. What never happened to the tube. But unfortunately, it just fucking imploded. So, and I will eat fucking up any documentary that comes out about this. So get on it. I'll watch a dramatization. I will watch a documentary. I will watch it all. I'm not going to read a fucking book, but I'll do the rest. I don't have time for that. The other thing, this isn't really so much a story, but if it was like a sort of boogeyman of the year, it would be AI. That was the big, that's all fucking anyone was talking about was AI. I don't use AI. I feel you said today you use it now. I mean, maybe I should.
Recently.
I want to. It seemed like the fun part where you make a funky picture and shit. That sounds like fun.
I haven't done that yet. I've only done it with ChatGPT with text.
But yeah, no, I
which
haven't
is
really
amazing.
Messed around with it. Yeah, no, it seems cool as hell. I'm afraid to go down that rabbit hole. So,
I'll ask questions and it'll have an answer for me immediately. And I was trying to write I'm still working on a book, and I put the intro into ChatGPT because I was like, how do I organize this? So I took a 3,000 word intro, I threw it in ChatGPT, and I said, if this were the intro for a book, what would the chapter headings look like? And in about 5 seconds, it spit out 20, no, it was only 10, 12 chapters. A third of them were crap.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get it. A third of them I'd already thought of before, basically what I came up with. And a third of them were, oh my God, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
And
so that's good.
People asked me what it's like, and I said, it's like collaborating with yourself. And you can get, my sister, I think, told me that Amazon had recently, like a few months ago, come out with a rule. You can only publish 3 books a day on Amazon.
Oh,
because people are just spitting out stories written by AI and putting them in books and selling them. And it will write a book for you. I was actually talking to a friend and I said, yeah, but it can't, it won't be your style. And he goes, you put in a few paragraphs of your style and it will emulate it. And I was like, what?
Yeah, well, it's getting better too. That's the scary part, I guess.
Yeah. I never would, but I don't think that makes any difference to most people in the world right now. So I don't know what world we'll be living in, a year, certainly 5 years, where everything's an extrapolation of everything on the internet according to whatever the AI is told to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then, of course, I think recently people keep claiming what's it called? Artificial general intelligence, which means something that is that has the intellect of a human, of an adult human.
Yeah.
And people keep claiming it's happened, but I don't know yet. It hasn't been, it hasn't been proven or repeated or whatever.
Yeah.
I was reading a book about 3 or 4 years ago called Our Last Invention. It was about AI and the whole thing about, well, what if AI decides that it doesn't need us around? It can start poisoning the food and killing people in traffic and stuff like that. It's like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it might happen on a small scale in some ways, but I don't think it will happen on a large scale.
Right.
The thing I am worried about is people that have no interest in doing any good by anybody using it. That's probably the worst scenario.
I didn't even consider that. But yeah, I had something of this conversation with Tyler Cochon on the Christmas show where it's like, he's very apocalyptic. I'm sort of happy-go-lucky. So it's just like, I don't see how I can't make the psychological leap from like making funny pictures to the world's going to end because of this shit. So it's like, but I see in a sense, it will shape society, whether we like it or not, in the same way that
it already has.
Well, it's going to shape it more. Like, maybe come to envelop, hard to extricate ourselves from it.
Yeah. Everything you do can be, tracked now. And if AI is involved with it, then it's going to start predicting what you will do.
Yeah.
When you will do it, what you'll spend your money on. It's going to control your credit rating. It already does. How worthy you are for loans and all that. It already controls that. So, at the behest of banks and things. But
yeah.
I may be talking out my ass. You know what? I had Diana Pasoka on my show, and she works with this woman who's kind of an AI pioneer. But in her book, in her Encounters book, the one that just came out, I think she said that some of the AI people think that AI is an alien intelligence from the future coming back to us through our technology to get us to use the technology to close that loop, so to speak, with whatever that alien intelligence in the future is trying to get us to do or turn us into or whatever. And they're fine with it. I said, is this like a metaphor? And she goes, no, they actually think that's really 100% what's going on based on what they've been doing in their belief system. That's probably a closed belief system amongst a lot of these people. But AI pioneers think it's aliens coming from the future through our technology.
Well, there are politicians trying to hasten the return of Christ. So it's, everybody's everybody's trying to fucking, working at the behest of something they think they, well, not everybody, but there are people who do. It's, it's a weird thing. I feel like there's an old commercial of like, the Today Show when they first started talking about the internet, and they were like, what is this internet? Is it like a thing? Is it like, what is www? That's
information superhighway.
Yeah, it was like, so that's kind of how I feel about AI right now. I haven't really dipped my toe into really exploring it, because it's like, this is a little daunting, but I feel like as you kind of saying, I feel like as we get further into it, like, and I don't want to say this to you, like, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but do you, now, like, if you use the chapter titles, do you feel compelled to be like, some of this was fabricated using AI? Like, that's part of the other thing, too. It's like, how do you, at some point, do people separate?
I have no problem with it.
But if you wrote a whole chapter, I hope you would be like, this chapter was written with AI or something. Because, like, there are places, Sports Illustrated, I don't know if you saw this, Sports Illustrated was publishing AI articles, like, without attributing them to AI. And then they pulled them, and they were like, all right, we won't do that anymore. But it's going to become a thing now where it's like, should there be a disclaimer or what, or how is this going to work with attributing shit that was done with AI?
It'll just
after a while there won't be. Yeah.
That's what's going on. And so
I think it's going to be like, if there isn't a person put their name on it, you're going to have to just assume that it was written with AI.
Well, even if they do put their name on it, you have to assume it was written with AI, because it's a lot easier.
I guess.
I have a moral thing against doing that. I won't do it to write a book. I absolutely will not do it.
I didn't mean, you know what I'm saying. You're the only one here in the room. So, I had to pose the question to you. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah, there's a weird thing there where it's like people take offense, and I don't blame them really, that it's like people passing off the things passed off as written by people that are written by AI. It's like people aren't ready for that shit yet.
Well, I'm not ready for it either. I think
they will,
I think it's
but
unethical.
they dig the AI.
Yeah, I do dig the AI, but I also think that if something was not written by you specifically, then you should say so. And I don't have any problem. The reason I got those chapter headings is because I fed it my work.
Right.
And it basically, it's like, I don't know, if you use the I Ching or cut ups or tarot cards or something to make a decision.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Are you not doing this? You're putting all your input into a randomizer. And that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. The title of that book that it defies language.
Oh yeah, you kind of got that one too, right? Yeah.
It was created by a cut up generator. I just put my introduction in and I looked at all and it just mixed all the words up randomly.
Yeah.
And I just looked at the words and kind of put myself in kind of like a non-committal state. And anytime a phrase came out when I was reading the words, I would write it down. And one of them was "It Defies Language," which I thought was a great title for a book about UFOs and the paranormal. And also, it's a book written in language, so I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's these questions this conversation will seem quaint in a few years.
Yes, it
I have
will.
a feeling. So they'll be like, "Oh my God, listen to them back in 23 talking about this."
Yeah, well, it'll be Tim and Greg Bot talking. It won't be us anymore.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll just it can do podcasts like that. It's crazy.
I watch documentaries like a fiend on YouTube, and like, goddamn, like 90% of them are read by AI now. You can tell because you're listening, and then suddenly it mispronounces something. You're like, "What? That's not how you pronounce that." And then you immediately know it's just the AI hasn't learned to pronounce it properly yet.
Right.
I can't remember what else I was going to say about the AI. Oh, I wanted to start a business doing recording and editing audiobooks.
Yeah, we talked about this, not on the show, but yeah.
Yeah, I edit audio. I've been editing audio for like 30 years. It's my job. I still edit audio, for Coast. So I just thought this would be, why don't I do that? And a friend of mine said, "You shouldn't do that." It's like, "Why not?" It's because AI is reading books now and you won't have. I said, "Well, what about if the author?" He goes, "The author doesn't have to read it. All the author has to do is read like 3 paragraphs, and then the AI will read the entire book in the author's voice. Celebrities, everything." So it's not. It's a dying industry. Authors can do it themselves at a certain point, which I think actually is pretty good, because then you don't have to have a publisher or anything sitting in the way. Hopefully, and that's changed especially since COVID. But since
it's a huge cost to do an audiobook.
Yeah, people can offer their own content that they've created directly to people. I think that's the wonderful part of it. The not wonderful part of it is the old guard of publishers and all that trying to hold on to it. And all the shenanigans and all the BS that comes with it. Like, the internet's a wonderful thing. Everybody gets a voice. And 10 years later, the internet sucks. Everybody gets a voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, AI written books are, I don't even think they're wonderful. I don't know. You know what? If they can make a good book that's compelling that people love, I won't be happy about it, but whatever.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, there are probably already like techno hipsters who are like, "I only read AI. I only read." It doesn't contain all the human projections of the author. It's more pure. It's like, all right, bro, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, probably.
We'll move on to the saddest part of the annual year in review special. That's the in memoriam. I've only listed people here that I think that we had personal encounters or friendships with. I think you may have met Calvin. We start with Calvin Parker, one of the 2 key witnesses in the Pascagoula incident. He passed away in the fall. You did meet him. Okay, yeah. I was only aware of him.
I interacted with him a bit. Figure. We emailed back and forth. Nicest guy ever. I should have had him on my show. I didn't, because it's one of my favorite cases.
It's a iconic case. Talking about strange cases, there you go. That's one of those where you're like, we're glad these guys talked. Well, I don't know if they initially talked about it or if it just kind of got leaked out because the police recorded it and shit. I don't remember how.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. The police just got it out to the press, and then they got involved, and APRO got involved. They sent James Harder down to talk to them. It was just like it became a circus, and then I think Parker finally wrote that book that. What's his name? Yeah, that Flying Disc Press. I can't remember. I can't remember the British guy that does that. But anyway.
Yeah, he had kind of tipped out of the scene for like decades, and then came back like in the last like 3 or 4 years. And really was celebrated, deservedly celebrated. Like I think he went through the shit for years over it.
Yeah,
and he was like, "I'm out," and then he came back like in the last few years, wrote a book, and he was like, he was beloved. So, deservedly so. So I'm glad he got to have.
Yeah, there wasn't any reason not
coda.
To.
Yeah,
he was like a good old boy in the best sense of the word.
Right. So,
not as far as I could tell, not prejudiced, not mad at anybody, friendly to everyone. He didn't know who the hell I was. He shook my hand and talked to me for like half an hour or more.
Yeah,
and that was great. So, sorry to see him go. I was kind of shocked about it, but I also knew that he wasn't doing well health-wise.
Yeah, and he was an older gentleman. And like I said, I'm happy that he got to have that resolution. Like, he dipped out. He was super bitter about what happened, I assume, and kind of unhappy at least, because he certainly didn't want any attention for it. And if he had died then, it would have been almost like this tragic story. But instead, it was like he reemerged. He talked about the case quite a bit. He wrote a book. They put up a fucking historical marker down there at Pascagoula. And then he died. And so it's like he died a happy man. Or at least I'd like to think that whatever issues he had
more at peace
were resolved. Yes, exactly. And then another guy I had some adventures with. You had many adventures with. A dear friend of yours. I'd call him a friend of mine as well. I really loved the guy, and I loved hanging out with him, and wish I had more time with him. I'm talking about Ken Thomas, who also passed away this past fall. Do you want to talk about Ken? I don't know if you wrote anything or spoke anywhere about it, or I don't want to put you on the spot for that kind of thing.
No, that's
but you know
okay. I spoke at his funeral.
Oh, there you go. That's how close Greg was with Ken, folks.
Well, he was best man at my wedding. I've known him since 98 or 9. We visited each other quite a bit. Mostly we saw each other at conventions. So I was happy when I started getting dates to speak, because then I could see Ken at conventions, and we didn't have to pay for plane tickets to see each other. I visited him once. We talked a lot, not in the last couple of years of his life, but I visited him once in St. Louis and stayed at his place with my wife because we went for the eclipse.
Yeah, I was going to say it's for the eclipse, yeah.
And he got us tickets to get on a paddle wheel steamboat in the Mississippi to watch the eclipse, which was the coolest thing ever.
Sounds awesome.
And a few months, he was diabetic. He had to go for what's that called when you have to get dialysis? Is that diabetes?
Something with kidneys. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he had to go for dialysis every week. So my wife and I actually took him to dialysis while we were there, and he went while he was here. But at one point, I think it got so bad they had to amputate part of one of his feet.
That's rough.
And I remember he was in the hospital. He called me from the hospital 2 or 3 times, and I sent him some care packages. One of them, the staff or somebody opened and stole everything.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But he called me, I just tried to keep his spirits up, and finally got out of the place. It was mostly the rehab was what was driving him nuts.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got out. He was fine for a while, and then I guess about 4 or 5 months ago, he like fell and banged his head, and apparently he had to go to the hospital. Then he was doing better, and then bang, he just died.
Yeah.
So I heard this, and I got on a plane and went out for his funeral, and there was a memorial service, and a bunch of his friends talked, and they said, does anybody else want to say something? I was the only person from the paranormal, parapolitical world that was there. I think it might have been the only person that was like directly in that world, and it was how we met.
Yeah.
And he, and I got up and talked about him for like probably about 2 minutes, and I felt good that I was able to do that.
That's
and
great.
Then we went to the grave site, and there was just ashes. So they dug this hole, and they gave us some flowers. People threw flowers in there. I had a deck of the tarot cards, which he'd asked me for, and I never sent to him. And to my eternal shame, I never sent him a copy of those. So I asked his wife if I could take one of the cards and put it in the hole in the ground, and she said, yeah. So I took the Hierophant, because that's the teacher, and I dropped it in the grave for him, and it's in the ground with his ashes now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. Anyway, and he's buried. Basically, you could walk for a minute, and you can get to William S. Burroughs' grave, which would have made him very happy. He took me to Burroughs' grave, actually.
Well, he had to have known that. I'm sure you own the grave way ahead of time.
I don't know. Maybe he did, but you couldn't get one near because there's no spots left. But it was near enough that you can actually, if you're standing at Burroughs' grave, you can actually see where Ken's grave is. You can't see it actually because it's on the ground. But
yeah.
But anyway, it was just. I felt like I needed to go to do that, just for me and for Ken and just for whatever. But yeah, he was a pretty close friend.
Yeah, it's very sad. I had the opportunity to obviously we had him on the show a couple times. Those were great conversations. He was a huge Dylan fan, so we talked a lot about Dylan.
Yeah. They played Dylan at his funeral, of course.
Oh, nice. Then he came down to Paramania, New Orleans. Completely unprompted. Just to go on an adventure. It was really cool. It was unexpected. It was like he just flew down, hung out for like a day or two, and flew back. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah. And you couldn't have had a better person there to talk to you about Jim Garrison and the Kennedy assassination and all that. That was like the basis of like all of his work in the conspiracy world was that. So we had him actually stand there at Jim Garrison's grave and give us a little lecture.
Yeah, he gave us like an impromptu lecture at the grave of Jim Garrison, and it was, a once in a lifetime experience. It was fantastic. So I was really bummed out. I was bummed when he died.
I realized I talked more about myself than Ken, and I apologize, but Ken was like, for many people, he was the first exposure they'd had to this kind of stuff. And he was actually horrified by how the conspiracy culture had become basically mainstreamed in a way that he would never have expected. And it terrified him. We talked about it.
Yeah, he was like the godfather of conspiracy theory through the 80s and 90s. And, he was the main dude, one of the main dudes. I think he was really popular because he had a sense of humor about this shit.
He took it seriously.
Reminded me a lot of Go Rightly in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Kind of kindred
He took
spirits.
it seriously, but not so seriously that he would get upset or whatever. I mean, I would tell him things. I would disagree with him, and he'd like look at me and kind of laugh, and he said, "Greg, you read too much of that skeptical literature." And then we'd both crack up.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I think I remember. He really was disappointed by the way things went. There's an article in the New York Times, you were quoted in it, and it was primarily about Smiles Lewis. I think a lot mentioned Ken, and just sort of how the general conspiracy culture is really the old time conspiracy crew, if you will, the community has become really. They're just either they're passing away or they're just stepping out of this. Like, this isn't what we're all about anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
this was all about pointing fingers at powerful figures and showing how they were doing things, and now it's the powerful figures controlling what people think about their ideas about what powerful figures are doing. It's like, okay, well, we're going to take over this narrative. You just use people's emotion and mistrust of power. You can manipulate them.
It's been weaponized.
If anybody tells you something that immediately gets you upset or excited or something, then you should be really careful about what they're telling you.
Exactly. So, yeah, that was Ken Thomas. You know, I always wish I'd got him back on the show more often, but, you know.
That's actually something I learned from Ken, the last thing I said.
What's that?
About don't trust people that are going to hook your emotions into something because they're working on a level other than using facts.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Using selectively.
Next up is Carol Rainey. We kind of eulogized her on the Christmas special last couple of weeks ago. I had limited interaction with Carol. I don't know if you had any.
Never met her.
All right. I just wanted to mention her, and for we did a long eulogy for her on the Christmas special with Tyler Coach on Jeremy Vaney. So check that out.
Oh, good.
Then the last name on the list is Ian Punnett, Coast to Coast host. And he just passed away last
4 days
week.
ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm still kind of shook about it, to be quite honest. I've known Ian and worked with Ian for I want to say 16 years, which is crazy to think about. I worked with him in a whole bunch of different capacities as the web guy, doing the show, working during the show as Ian was hosting. Then later as the news guy when I was doing the appearances on the show on Friday nights when Ian was hosting those Friday nights. Just a really good guy. Just funny dude, sweet guy. A couple of stories that I can share that I want to mention. That's back before I even worked for Coast to Coast. I was kind of like this little pain in the ass blogger who wrote about Coast to Coast. And my dad died, and Ian, who was a pastor, had heard and actually reached out, said, send me your number, called me and kind of counseled me through the death of my father, shortly after it happened. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Completely unprompted, just reached out, out of love. And so I never forgot that and always appreciated it. And, I cannot, just looking back on it, I'm still kind of astounded that it happened. Just what a gracious and wonderful person he was to do that. And then later when I was doing the appearances on Coast to Coast, before the first time we did it, he called me again this time. We kind of, and I don't even think he even remembered what went down with after my father passed, because that was 15 years ago. Or 16 before I worked for Coast to Coast. But he just kind of worked through. I was really nervous. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm terrified. And Ian was kind of helped me out and walked me through it. And we war gamed the segment and stuff. And it was a real, just that 15-minute conversation. I've been podcasting for years, folks, 18 years. Just in that little conversation, I learned 2 or 3 little things, 2 or 3 little tricks that I never had picked up in all my years of doing this. I mean, that's how sharp he was, how really skilled he was at the game. The kids who had him as a teacher at Kansas State, they really lucked out, because I wish I could have had more time to talk to him just about the art of the interview and the art of the hosting. But he taught me just a lot in just a brief phone conversation. And over the years, as we did the segments, I would send him the list, and he'd be like, okay, let's move this one here and move that one there. And then we're going to start with this one. It was he had a vision of how to do things. And I really learned a lot just from doing those segments with him. So, and everybody who interacted with him talked about just what a wonderful guy he was. I imagine if what he did for me when my dad passed away, I imagine he probably did that countless times for so many other people. That's the kind of gracious and generous person he was. So, I look back with fond appreciation for all the time that I had working with him. It was really, it was great. It was really a wonderful experience, and my heart goes out to his family and all of his other friends and all of the colleagues, because, we were all really surprised that he passed away last week.
Yeah. I worked with him for 5 years, not nearly as long, doing the same things, basically setting things up for the shows and working with him on the shows and going back and forth with him before the shows about what he wanted, sometimes what he wanted in the news or whatever. The one thing I really remember is two things. One is we were talking before the show once, or during the show. We were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And he mentioned something about some weird, one-hit wonder or something. And I said, oh, well, they also did this. Did you know that? He said, no. I said, oh, well, he said, how'd you know that? And I said, I have a show where I play weird music. He goes, what, really? I said, yeah. And I told him the name of the show. And when it was on, he said, do you want to come on the show tonight for 10 or 15 minutes and just talk about weird music? And I said, yeah. So I was his guest one of the nights I was working with him for the first 10 or 15 minutes, just talking about weird music. The other thing I remember about him, which was great, if a caller called in and he detected BS, he would call him on it.
Oh, yeah,
or if he detected a hate speech thing, he would immediately jump on them. It's like, I know exactly what you're saying, and I know exactly what you mean. So don't run around, don't beat around the bush, and you're off the show right now. And then he'd hang up on the person and berate them for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah,
and I thought that was great because the other hosts wouldn't do that. They'd kind of okay, yeah, you're full of crap. Okay, nice guy. No, he'd attack, which I thought was wonderful. I mean, I would listen to him and just cheer while I was sitting there with my headphones on, trying to type what was going on the show.
Yeah.
Which you had to do when you're running the web, doing the webmaster stuff. So.
Yeah, so great guy, and he's going to be really missed and part of the fabric of Coast to Coast, and So, and that's kind of the year in review. That's the wrap up, but we got to look ahead to 2024, so we got about 15, 20 minutes here to talk about that, and anything else that might have come up. Is there anything I might have missed in 2023 that bears mentioning? I mean, we avoided all pop culture shit and Barbie and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would we?
Football. I know. There's nothing really.
Although Taylor I did Swift. Really like the Godzilla movie. That kicked ass. That was really good.
The Godzilla movie. All right.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see a good Godzilla movie. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I tried to watch the Barbie movie the other night, and I don't like musicals. I actually liked the idea of the movie. I liked sort of where it was going, but it was just after the third musical number, I'm just all right, I'm kind of tapped out on this.
I generally don't like musicals either. You know what? The only musical I ever liked was Guys and Dolls, which was from the 50s. But yeah, the Godzilla movie kicked ass. It was just, I did not expect it to be that good.
Yeah.
And and it's because I have personal knowledge of some of the stuff they talked about in the movie, what was Japan like after World War II? What did people have to do? What, food shortages, everything was in chaos. And I mean, that's when the movie takes place. And
right.
And there was a really good story with it, a very nice human-sized story with it. There wasn't just monsters stomping around, although there was plenty of monsters stomping around. It was great. The other thing that totally blew me away is they used the music from the first couple of Godzilla movies. The same,
that's cool.
The same, that
yeah.
When the tanks are pulling up to shoot Godzilla. They used that music. I felt like I was 10 years old again watching a Godzilla movie. So, if everybody I've known that's seen it has loved it. So I'm glad it's doing well because it's a nice reboot. It really is. Yeah. Reboots usually suck. This one was really good.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, the ghost thing, the ghost world just kept going ghostly. It's nothing really. I mean, it is what it is. And even besides the Bigfoot thing, all these other kind of feels, they're all kind of still. Nothing's really changed. There wasn't any big breakthroughs that I can think of.
Yeah, no congressional hearings about Bigfoot and ghosts.
Right, exactly. I think the other thing that I was going to mention, I was like, well, we already got enough shit, but we...
Not to put them down,
but yeah, no, it's just... The ghost thing, I think you can only take it so far. It's at some point, I don't know. No one's looking for, the smoking gun of ghosts, so...
Well, there's plenty of them, but they just don't appear in ways that
right.
that are, they're ghosts are anecdotal.
Fantastic ghost photos and shit, but it's like there's no Patterson Gimlin of ghost. Maybe there is, but it's like no one's coming through with like the best. Some people can see a fucking super clear picture of a ghost, and people just go, "Oh, it's a ghost." Like you either believe in ghosts or you don't. Like you're not. No, they're never convinced like everybody of ghosts for some reason. The other thing worth mentioning, I guess a good segue to 2024 in a sense was and I think a lot of this happened actually at the end of 2022, but it's percolating, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Is the people who want to revive the woolly mammoth, they're teaming up now with the people that want to revive the thylacine, and now they're also working with the dodo people. So essentially, they're like collecting all the
dodo people,
all the fucking extinct animals, and there's actual money and scientific work being done towards this. But as I complained about on the Christmas show, I know science goes slow, but we've been hearing these stories like forever, and it's like when they're going to grow you a new kidney or whatever, or they can grow an ear on the side of a mouse. It's like they've been doing this shit for years. When am I ain't getting any younger here, dude. I'm going to need that new kidney or a new liver sooner than you think. So how much longer is it going to take for you guys to start growing these things in a factory like you've been telling me you could do for like 10 years? So I'm not holding
They already do, man, and the Illuminati takes them all, man.
Yeah. So I'm not holding out hope that I'm going to see a thylacine or a woolly mammoth or a dodo bird in my lifetime, but
or a dinosaur for that matter, because I think like they found dinosaur blood in something, but I don't know if the DNA is viable.
Yeah, I'm sure that once they do the dodo, once they do the fucking thylacine, and then once they do the woolly mammoth, once they do one of them, maybe even someone's going to be like, "Fuck it, let's do the dinosaurs." Fuck the thylacine. We'll do that one later. Let's resurrect Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now we know how to do it. It's like, dude, stop.
I think it's some boring, vegetation eating dinosaur that they got the blood and the non-fossilized parts of it. I don't know if the DNA in it's viable though, but I don't know. People are like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." It's like they're going to make one of them or two of them or whatever. They're not going to take over the world,
right?
At least not while we're alive.
A little tiny dinosaur, sure, yeah, but they'll always
have
be some
that running
asshole
around. Jurassic Park. The thing I'm waiting for is a laboratory grown meat.
Yeah.
Because people are like, "Oh, I don't want to eat that." It's like, but it's meat. It's no different than actually having a steak, and nothing had to die, and nothing had to suffer, and nothing had to take up a whole bunch of water and land and agriculture to feed it. I think it'll be wonderful.
Well, that's like AI. Once they'll start seeding it into the pop, into the zeitgeist, and eventually people will be like, "Oh, it's half real and half factory grown," and then eventually it'll just be like, "Oh, it's factory grown." But who knows? That's the future. Someday people will look back on our 2023 episode, like I said, and they'll be like, "Oh, it's so quaint how they were talking about AI and factory grown meat. Now that these are everyday part of our lives."
Or self-driving cars. If the AI really wants to kill us, I guess it could just start crashing cars into each other. But that'd be stupid because then nobody would go in cars anymore. I can't wait for self-driving cars. I think it'll be wonderful. People are like, "Oh, no, there's going to be accidents." You know how many less accidents are going to be when it's just run automatically? And how much faster you'll get places without idiots stopping to figure out where they want to go?
Yeah.
Stuff like, I almost got in an accident today. A guy spun out in front of me.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just driving, and suddenly I see this car going sideways and smoke coming off the tires, and I'm like 50 feet away from it. I'm like, "Ah!"
Oh, damn.
And I kind of like slowed down just enough to stay away from him as he spun out and ended up halfway into the oncoming lane of traffic. I was thinking somebody would hit him and they'd come back and hit me. Then I'm looking in my rear view mirror because the person behind me is going to rear end me if I slam on the brakes too hard. So there's all this.
Jesus.
I want driverless cars. God damn it.
Yeah. We got to split the difference and just take Uber, I guess, right? That's yeah. Anyway,
Who knows?
so 2024, do you have any vision? I mean, I think that I hate to keep going. We talked a little about this on the Christmas special in a sense where it's like, I don't know if it'll be next year, but I feel like I feel like maybe we'll get a Grush sequel somewhere. I keep calling him Grush, but I think it's Grush. But a Grush, maybe another one. Like they tried, they got what they wanted out of this one, but it's like you got to push it further now. You got to take it further. You're gonna need someone, or maybe they'll just keep milking his. He'll just keep kind of riding his own wave. But that's the only sort of quasi prediction. We're gonna see the same shit. I think. I don't suspect that we'll have UFO disclosure. I think that. I think we'll see a lot of the same wheel spinning, but I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'm cynical about it, so I think people will still be asking interesting questions about the phenomenon. People holding out for aliens, though, might want to, tap on the brakes. I also think, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's an interesting time. I think people need to also. Not people, I suppose. UFO enthusiasts who are like on the edge of their seats here need to remember all this feels also like a really great distraction because the world's fucking in complete chaos. There's 2 major wars at least going on. Feels like we're on the cusp of World War III. And there's a fucking election coming up now, too. So, not like a boring ass fucking 1996 election either. Like the election to end all fucking elections essentially is coming up in November. So
I can't wait to be bored again. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I know. So I think people need to, I think the UFO thing might end up taking a backseat as the year goes on. It'll still pop up in the news. Things will happen, but as a going concern for people who are on the edge of the bubble, who have taken I could see them kind of drifting off as we don't get as less developments happen, or it seems like less developments happen, and the world gets way more fucking serious. I could see people being like, "Look, I don't have time for this UFO shit. World War III just broke out." So that's part of me. The cynical part of it.
Yeah. I think that the thing with the UFOs and having the government do that, I think they're trying to prevent World War III using the UFO thing as a fulcrum, as a tool. I just think
we're all in this together as Earthlings.
No. But just as an intelligence tool. What are people doing? What are people thinking? What are what are our enemies? What are their capabilities? What do they think our capabilities are?
Right.
Here's a good way to come in at the end of the show. I have a friend that's a minister in Los Alamos in New Mexico.
Yeah.
About a year ago, she said, "Do you want a job?" I said, "What?" He said, "You want to live in New Mexico?" I said, "Yeah, I think eventually." She said, "Los Alamos is hiring like a mad." I said, "I don't have any skills." And she said, "You can write English competently. You're in video and audio production and post-production. And, like I said, you have command of the English language. They need those people." I said, "Why?" She said, "There's an atomic race on and they're building bombs like nobody's business."
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
Scary. Yeah, people don't know that generally. There's a huge nuclear arms race on right now, or at least part of one or somewhat of one, like there hasn't been in the past. I don't know why, but it's frightening as hell. So, so people will know. She said, "Do you want a job?" And I said, "I do not want a job supporting people making nuclear weapons."
Yeah,
I can't.
Wild.
I won't do it.
Jesus Christ, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that might be
when
you mentioned the UFO connection. Yeah, it could be something also, in a sense where it's like a new form of like mutually assured destruction, where it's like, we know you have these things, we have these things too, so if you're thinking about bringing a bomb over and blowing us up, like, we could also do it with our UFOs.
Or at least, put the question in somebody's mind, who knows? But it's not to disclose UFO information, it's to increase intelligence and keep secrets and direct people's attention. And That's just the way I see things. And the whole thing that's been happening from 2017 ticks all those boxes for me. I can't see it any other way. Doesn't mean there's no UFOs. Doesn't mean the government doesn't know something about it. Doesn't mean they might actually have pieces of them. I don't know. But that's not why this is up right now.
Yeah.
A lot to do with the world situation at this time.
The idea that there was like this spontaneous, like, I don't know, spontaneous renewed interest in UFOs for some fucking unknown, just because the New York Times wrote an article. It's very hard to believe. It's like there's far more at work than just, all of a sudden there was an article about,
here's another thing. Bill Moore told me this years ago. Every time the government says something about UFOs, UFO researchers think it's about them. And it's never about them. It has nothing to do with what your interest in UFOs is. Not in the least. It has to do with defense and intelligence and defense tech and all kinds of things like that. Yeah. That's what it's for. It has nothing to do with like, UFOs are going to admit that they know that they're here. It's like, no, they're not. They're just going to use yours and other people's interests to do whatever they need to do. It's a tool. You know what UFOs are for a lot of intelligence people? It's the best Swiss Army knife they've got, or one of the best ones.
Yeah, makes sense. So it's hard to predict, 2024. The AI thing will still be talked about. Who the fuck could have predicted that they would go down to the Titanic in a little tube that would blow up? Like the people in the submersible community, like 35 people in that world. So right now there's people. I mean, look, I don't want to be macabre or whatever, but and maybe it's not this year. But the submersible thing, that is a preview, folks, for fucking someone dying in one of these rocket launches. It's going to happen.
Yeah, they will. I'll go on a rocket launch anytime I get invited to. I would be the first in line. Absolutely.
I'd probably do it, but I'm not. But you don't get what I'm saying. It's inevitable. I mean,
I know it is inevitable. Of course it is, and it'll slow everything down for a while, and people will get scared, and then they'll say, "Okay, we fixed that problem," and they'll, the president of the company will go up a couple times, and they'll go, "Okay," just like Boeing trying to cover up that stupid 737 problem that caused those two accidents. They just kept trying to cover it up, and finally they're like, "Okay, we made a mistake." And they had the guys that, like, the CEO had to ride on the plane a few times. Everybody's like, "It's safe now. Don't worry about it." And it's fine. There hasn't been an accident since then. But yeah, it will happen. There's no way it won't.
Yeah. I mean, more often than not, they're not even sending people up yet. But it's like, once more people get sent, then something bad will happen.
Just by a law of averages. Yeah.
May not even blow up. Somebody might have a fucking heart attack on there. And it'll be like, is it safe to do? Maybe who knows? But it's inevitable. As more people do it and more get sent up. And look, I'd probably do it. I don't see why. It's super expensive. So if I got the opportunity, I would definitely do it. I'm skeptical that I'll ever live long enough.
Yeah, me too.
To have the kind of disposable income. As I get older and the price goes down, I don't know if I'll ever get that to that meeting point where it's like, okay, I can drop $1,000 on it.
Yeah.
But it's like,
if I got $1 million left in my life and I'm 85 and it's going to cost me $10,000 or 20 or whatever, oh hell yeah, I'd do it.
Oh sure, yeah, but yeah, right now.
Like, what if you die? It's like, what if I die in a bed, like, with tubes attached to me? I'd rather die burning up in the atmosphere or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So there'll be more space launches. I think NASA is going to launch phase 2 of the moon mission. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Artemis,
I think that's going to be in November. That's going to be with people, and they're going to go around the moon and come back. So that's stage 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's 2024. We'll still be doing this, God willing, knock on wood. And it's like we may be covering a moon landing in a few years. So, I mean, I never thought I'd see it because I never lived. I didn't live when it happened. I was born after all the moon stuff happened. So it's like, okay, well, there's something cool to see.
I remember seeing it when I was a little boy. I mean, I was so young, I don't know if I actually remember when it happened or the 3 zillion times it's been shown.
Yeah, exactly. Now
but I remember my dad saying, "Get in here, they're about to land on the moon," and I came running in.
Yeah.
And my dad helped develop rocket fuel, so he was always watching these launches, so I got to watch all of them.
So that's going on in 2024, but there's really nothing, on the horizon. The election, the Olympics, and the wars. That's about all that.
Yeah, I can't predict anything in this field that we're talking about. I don't think unless there's some watershed thing that happens with ghosts or Bigfoot or other the goat people or any other cryptids.
Yeah, it's always the year. Yeah, somebody's going to shoot a Bigfoot or whatever. That would change. Then we kick off next year's year in review. Obviously, we got to talk about fucking the guy who shot Bigfoot. That's clearly the biggest story. So,
I don't think anybody's ever going to shoot Bigfoot. I don't think it's possible. Did I tell you this? I was talking to David. Oh God damn it! Now I can't remember his name.
Grush. What do you say about Bigfoot? I was told, but I can't verify.
Whether I can't remember his name.
David Weatherly.
So bad.
David Weatherly.
That's it, Weatherly. And I was interviewing him, and I said, "Hey, Dave, Bigfoot, paranormal or real or physical?" And he said, "Why not both?" I said,
sure,
"Okay,
yeah.
That's why I don't think anybody is ever going to be able to shoot a Bigfoot, because it can walk." It can disappear the way we walk through a door. I want to be over there, and suddenly they're not in our reality anymore. I mean, I think that's a.
So
it's a wishy-washy.
I got this dimension. I've been shot. So
it's a wishy-washy way to talk about it because it's trying to prove something with something that hasn't been proven. But it's the only thing I can think of when you talk about something like Nessie or Bigfoot or whatever, and capturing them, and how it'll never happen. It never will happen. It might be able to be explained, but not captured.
Yeah. So, but we always hope. We always hold out hope. You never know. That's about all you can do. But yeah, we'll see. 2024. I mean, every year I end the year looking at these crazy stories at Coast to Coast that I wrote. And it's like, I could never have predicted shit that happened. People. I find that people are I was thinking about this the other night, actually. The phenomenon stays the same. It's the people that fucking change and get stranger or weirder or more.
It changes the way
influenced by the subject. That's just people looking at the subject, but it's like the craziness of people. It's like Bigfoot and ghosts are kind of fucking boring when you look at the shit people do. Like people do the craziest shit imaginable. Like if you just look at like crimes that happen in the year, or like a weird just capers or shit like that. It's like people just do weird, crazy shit. Oftentimes more insane than an undiscovered bipedal hairy primate walking through the woods. It's like I've adapted to that, but
that's almost normal in our world.
Yeah,
it is.
Like a guy in China fighting with his neighbor who's a duck farmer, a chicken farmer. So he goes onto his thing in the middle of the night and fucking scares 1,000 chickens to death. That actually happened in 2023 by chasing them into the corner, and they stampeded and died. And then he got arrested for it. Then they're like, all right, don't do that again. Then like the fucking next night he did it again and killed like another 1,000 more. So it's like, these are the things people do, man. I find it sometimes more captivating than the paranormal, which has almost become normal these days. But it's, we'll see conspiracy culture further sullied, and I think that just all the various cycles are going to keep going. So we'll see if there's any profound change. But I think that's it. How about for you?
Huh?
What's that? What about UFOs?
For the UFOs, I think my prediction is either one, it will be reinvigorated somehow, but not very much, or two, the more likely thing, it'll be on the decline. The government UFO thing by the end of of 2024, I think the decline of the government thing will be underway, where they won't be saying as much anymore. I think it's already like that.
I'll throw this out as a wild card possibility, because I didn't necessarily think that a Grush character would emerge. Maybe a mass sighting. Maybe like an undisputable kind of thing. But even that is, an iconic
That's
case.
happened.
Yeah, but I mean, one that
happened
has...
in Phoenix.
No, I know. I mean, like a new one.
A new Phoenix Lights.
Yeah, with like several people see it.
A lot more video with higher quality and all that.
Yeah, and it can't quite be explained, and
and it'll
maybe
be explained by
that
skeptics and unexplained by UFO people. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm. So maybe
and they'll both be right.
That's kind of what this whole fucking thing is missing in a way. Almost in a sense, like the interjection by the phenomenon to fuck around. To be like, oh, I see what you're all doing, so I'm going to just come in and appear and fuck with all your shit. So, that would be awesome. I'd love that. But
yeah, me too.
Because there aren't any classic cases.
Some novelty.
Yeah.
No, there aren't.
And all the cases you hear about from the UAP cases from the government, they're all after the fact. Radar returns, drone footage, whatever. It's like there's never a contemporaneous incident. So maybe something like that. That would be really cool. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if things are instant classics. Was Pascagoula an instant classic when it happened, or was it over the intervening years that it became classic? I don't know. It's
hard to gauge. Stephenville is probably the closest. Like that kind of stuck as a case that. But that's the last
breeze or
right. Phoenix Lights. It's like there hasn't been a real. The Chicago O'Hare one is kind of, but
yeah.
If they make a documentary or whatever about it, then it's when you make it on UFO Files on the 85 different.
Then it's classic
cable channels. So we talked about 2024 for the world and paranormal and all that. What about you? What do you got going on in 2024 as we kick off the new year?
Continuing to write. I've got people lined up to do the show, so I will do occasional shows.
Yeah, you're going to come back?
I am. People I find interesting, I'll put on the show. I think I've got one of the Navy flyers lined up to come on my show, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of shows that are still taped, right? You haven't put out?
I've got like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I will release those. I keep saying I'll release those over that. One of them actually was editing. When I went to New York, a lot of my show editing, when I do really a huge amount of editing, is when I'm stuck on planes.
Yeah.
So I just sit there and do my audio editing while I'm flying because I have nothing to do for 3, 4, 5, or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I get a lot done. Then suddenly we're landing, so it works. It works really well because what else are you going to do? Watch shitty TV?
Right. Well, that's what I do, but it's.
Yeah.
But anyway,
read or whatever.
Well, I can just speak from experience. It's gratifying to come back. I think people would love to see you come back on a regular basis. Maybe you don't want to do the weekly format. Believe me, we talked about this over the years. It's like, and I said this to you the other night. It's like I liken this to being a long distance runner. I couldn't understand how people could do this weekly shit, but once you get going and once you start working out,
you get
every
momentum.
day, you all of a sudden now, I think this will be like the 12th week in a row. I don't see any end in sight right now.
Right.
We got all of January all booked up and shit. So it's like, but people would love to see you come back, I'm sure. So you should definitely consider it. Even if it was like, I'm going to do a show every 2 weeks or whatever. I'm sure no one's going to well, they will complain. There'll be people that complain. There'll be people complain that if you came back 5 nights a week, that's too much. It's too much now, Greg. Come on. Really?
The only time I would do that much, or you would probably, is if we were getting paid a living wage. Then I'd happily do it.
Yeah, for sure. But we're not. So it's this. And so, but anyway, you should consider it. People would be thrilled.
Okay, cool.
We'll start a new. It'll be part of an overarching thing. We're like, it's a renaissance of. So we'll see. But anyway, you should definitely consider it. And you're working on something, but you probably. I would advise don't talk about it. That's I don't know if it was you or Girl Rightly or both, but yeah.
No, I think I said that a while ago. The more you talk about something, the less you're likely to do it, because it comes out your mouth. And your ego thinks, oh, that's done because everybody knows about it now. And you don't have the energy inside you to do I don't have it in here. The energy inside you to do the thing as much. The other day I was out, I was at this place, it was called the Quiet Store or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
And they had baseball caps with a pair of lips with a finger up to it, like, shh. And I bought one of those because I have to keep remembering not to talk so much about things.
There you go. Well, yeah. So no, for sure, I totally agree with that. As my unwitting mentor Steve Harvey likes to say, if you ever want to kill a big dream, tell it to a small-minded person. Tends to. I find that often happens. You tell somebody a great idea you have, like, that'll never work. It's like fuck,
sucking all the energy out of it. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I want to thank you for coming back on the show here for the 17th year in review. It sounds silly. I want to mention, where's this fucking guy? I sent you the thing. This guy, we got to give him credit. Stuart Lloyd on Twitter sent me this crazy thing, and I sent it to Greg. And it's like he did a chart of the positive vibes surrounding UFOs over the last 16 years up until last year. So I don't know if I can figure out a way to like retweet that or something, but I appreciate Stuart Lloyd doing that. He listened to all the year in review shows. It's hard to glean anything out of it. I feel like, not with all due respect to Stuart, as I was joking with Greg, it's like we have lives. Like if we sounded negative about UFOs that night, it might be because the fucking pizza place fucked up my order that night, or we're going through a difficult time in our lives or something. we're not robots yet. But I appreciate
2011 Bitch Fest, 2014. Why bother? Greg was very cynical this year. I hope we weren't as cynical this time.
No, I don't think so. It's a whole new fucking era. I try to
be happier and happier as things go on because things are getting worse and worse, and the only way to fight it is to be more positive. I can't be around people like, oh, God, this again. Oh, God, of course this is going to happen. It's like, geez, things are bad enough. Why do you have to, why do you have to be a Debbie Downer about it?
Yeah.
I know they suck, but if you act like they suck, it makes it worse.
That's for sure.
Your hope disappears.
Look, anytime we have shit to talk about, that's exciting to me. It's like I said, it's a whole new era of shit. And, we're going to see where it goes as the time goes by. And as silly as it sounds, like Stuart checked out those episodes, someday when all the shit's all in kind of more contained area on the YouTube, people will be able to go back and listen to this 17-year time capsule of each year and get a look at what the world was like, the world of the paranormal, and a little bit of what the real world was like. And Jim Vujicic asked me to say, I guess apparently I said this on one of the other episodes, it's sort of like the podcast of record for the year. Now, at least, after all these years, I don't know any other shows that can boast like a 17-year history of reviewing the time. So it's become kind of an institution, and it's thanks to you, agreeing to take part in it and joining in with me every year. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but it's a collaborative effort here over the years that we've
I'll pat you on the back. It's amazing.
Created this ongoing time capsule. So, 50, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, people will listen to these shows and go, all right, that was what it was like back then. So it's pretty cool if you think about it.
It's crazy. I really appreciate being able to do these things, do these end of the years with you. I never really think about them until like about 2 or 3 weeks before. It's like, we're going to do the end of the year show. It's like,
I don't really. Yeah, I try not to like a week before, and then
review,
I start. Like, what the fuck are we going to talk about? But we always have something to talk about. So
this
all
year,
right, man.
I think more than in the past. So thank you.
Yeah, well, this year was great. We had a lot to talk about. Interesting, colorful events, which is nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, brother. Thank you very much, and have a fantastic 2024. And now that the show is rolling along, we're going to get you back to do just fucking real UFO talk or whatever. I always said to you, I think like 18 fucking years ago, we did the Project Beta show, and that was when I read the book, and I have to read the fucking book again. And we'll do like Project Beta Revisited and really kind of talk about shit that I noticed in the book that I have.
You're one of the few people that actually enjoy doing that with.
We would have a blast, I'm sure. We would have an absolute blast. So I'm going to put that sort of in the mental calendar here for Binnall of America in 2024 at some point as the revival continues. But I want to thank you, obviously, for all the years of friendship and all that good stuff. I love you, man, and have an awesome 2024. I think it's going to be a great year, I hope.
Me too. Same back at you.